Here are 5 ways to regulate your nervous system. Welcome to another episode of You Are Art with Destiny Finn. So, what exactly is the nervous system? The nervous system is your body's communications and safety network. It is what literally connects everything. And in metaphysics and mysticism and spiritual writings, or even manifestation culture, it is what you need to regulate if you want to actually embody the new identity in creating a life that you love. Because it's not just enough to actually think positive thoughts and to rewrite your beliefs. If your body still does not feel safe with those beliefs, you're going to be subconsciously and unknowingly blocking what you want. So, for example, if you want, let's say, $1 million and you are writing beliefs in your mind, I am a millionaire, money comes to me so easily, that's great. But you're still not seeing the money, right? Well, how does your nervous system feel with money? How does it feel at the thought of holding $300,000 a month? If you made that salary wise, does the body tense up or does it feel relaxed? Does it feel rested knowing, yeah, I'm deserving of 300,000. Hell yeah. Does it feel safe receiving that? And a visualization to understand this is picture your nervous system as yourself as a vessel. You know, the Bible talks about it like you are a vessel, you are a cistern. And if your nervous system is only regulated to, let's say, receive $60,000 a year, okay, as salary, and that's the size, and you want $1 million, $1 million is going to end up hurting you. So your nervous system's job is to protect you and say, that's going to hurt us. So in order to embody the identity of somebody that makes $1 million a year salary, you have to regulate your nervous system. You know, you have to have mind and heart, mind and body coherence to then create the state of being. You know, faith is your identity. By your faith be done to you. And faith then takes works, because if you believe something to be true, if you have an identity, you're going to go take action with it. You know, conscious thought paired with action equals manifestation. That's another way of doing it with comparative theology. So we're going to dive into the 5 ways you can start regulating your nervous system today, because I want to help you. And I myself have done this as somebody who grew up in definitely on the one side of the tracks of scarcity and limits and poverty thinking. I had to regulate. And it was painful sometimes. I released a lot of stored emotions in my body, but with that also came healing of my body. So this is real stuff, because we are not just physical beings. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, and we exist on the spiritual realm, the mental realm, and the physical realm. We've got a physical body, we've got an energetic body, and we've got a mental body. So these all need to be in coherence. They all need to be integrated for us to create a life that we love. Number 1, your breath as the breaststroke. Breathing is the fastest way to regulate your nervous system. When you're having a panic attack, you need to breathe in 4, hold for 7, let out 8. You know, you need to start practicing this breathing. That's meditation. You know, you go into a breathing state, you slow the cortisol in your body, you slow the stress down, you get your body out of fight and flight, because if the body is in stress mode, which is pretty much what 99% of people live in all the time, and we wonder why we're so sick and tired and drained in America especially, we're constantly on this treadmill, then we are not at rest in our body. Okay, and as the Bible would say, Jesus says, I come to bring you rest. It's a state of being. Son, if you are a son of God, you are aligned back with God. If Christ is in you, if you are awake, if the eye be single, you are back to being regulated. So the first thing is breathing. So what you want to do is you want to just honestly start focusing on your breathing. You want to breathe in. And you want to start regulating your nervous system. And then you want to speak, I am safe, I am well, whatever it is. If it's about money, you can either breathe like in meditation like this, I do both, or if like anxiety rears up, you know, that nervous system is going to fight mode, I'll put my hand on my heart, and I'll put my hand on my heart as in the solar plexus, you know, your stomach. It is safe for me to hold this money. I am deserving of this money. You know the words that you need to speak for yourself. And that's what that's doing, okay? You're not forcing calm, you're inviting it. And when you get your body to a state of ease, life starts flowing. You enter the flow state. So you need to make it make sense for you in the wording that works for you. You know your inner child, your nervous system, that soul aspect of you, what it needs to hear to feel safe. And when you start practicing mindfulness, you start becoming very self-aware of, okay, my inner child, why do I feel like this? Oh, there was a memory once when I was a child, I did not get love in this area. So now I'm freaking out, which takes me to number 2, loving the inner child. You need to reparent yourself. You need to become the parent that younger you never had, because when you were a child, you adopted and accepted beliefs that then put your nervous system on a state. So what I want you to do with this one, and this is a way to regulate your nervous system, and I promise you it works. It might sound a little woo-woo if you're kind of new to this area of the more spiritual aspects of life, but it does work. So for example, I used to be very much forgotten on my birthdays. And there was a birthday that was very traumatizing for me as a child. And that was just a moment that marked in me that it's not safe for me to be celebrated, because celebration leads to shame and everybody just kind of forgets me on my birthday. And that was a belief that I adopted. So then when it was my birthday, like let's say last year, and people got me gifts and my friends got me gifts, because I started putting in those new beliefs, I noticed that I felt very uncomfortable. And I'd be like, I don't feel safe with this. And I wanted to start rejecting their kindness because my nervous system was rejecting it. So what I had to do is I'm like, where is this coming from? Like, this is what I've been praying for. I've literally been praying to have friends that remember my birthday, to have friends that support me as past people did not. So I'm getting this prayer, but why am I feeling so much anxiety? Oh, because there's something coming up in my energy field. So I had to sit still. I had to become aware of where that memory came from. And then I just closed my eyes and I visualized a golden beam of light going back to that child, that age of what I was. And I just looked at her and I was like, Destiny, you are so loved. You are deserving of being celebrated. You are deserving of being supported. You are deserving of getting good gifts and having friends love you. You are deserving of that. I love you. And I sent those words and I sent that golden beam to that child. And immediately I felt the emotional releasing that was just stored in my body. And I regulated my nervous system. And it hasn't been a problem. So that is what is another way to rewire, which takes me to number 3, which is EFT tapping. And I'm going to actually list the YouTube on the screen right here of a guy who has a whole channel and he's focused on EFT tapping. And this stuff also works. Okay. When I first saw somebody doing that and told me to do it back in the day, I was like, what the hell are you doing? I was like, that seems like so weird. Like, why the hell are you just tapping your head right now? But it does, okay? Because it actually just kind of bypasses and it gets to the root. So tapping works because it sends rhythmic signals to the body that interrupt stress loops, because stress is just a state of being. And so to get a new state of being, you have to change the thoughts and you have to change the emotion. You have to create a new state of being to then create your new personal reality, to create a new personality. And as you tap, you're telling your system, this moment is not a threat. And then you layer it with language that affirms worth, not performance, as in, I am safe in my body. I don't have to earn rest. You are literally then retraining the nervous system to receive gentleness. So let's just keep using money, because that's a really easy one that tends to be the number one issue that most people have on the surface that they think, and then they realize, oh, actually it's abandonment issues, and actually it's a visibility problem. And then you just keep getting lower into the iceberg and you realize that money is just the surface. That's why you should not put your identity in money. You should put your identity in Christ and your higher self and adding value to the world, and then money follows. But we're just going to keep using money because it's an easy one. So if you don't feel safe holding lots of money, then you're going to start tapping and you're going to be like, okay, it is safe for me to hold money. It is safe for me to receive large sums of money. It is a joy for me to receive money. Man, I love having a lot of money because I love supporting myself and my friends with that money. And you're just going to say the affirmations that make you feel safe, end up doing it. And when you do that, you start releasing things, and again, words are powerful. As a man speaks, so is he. As a man thinketh, so is he. By your words you are blessed. By your words you are condemned. Please put a guard and watch over my mouth, O Lord, so that way I do not speak and use your name in vain. And what is the Lord's name? Life itself is actually God, okay? But the Lord's name in the mystic traditions is I am, because the subconscious only creates with present moment terminology. So you don't understand that. Which then takes me to sensory anchoring, coming back into the body. Trauma and anxiety tend to pull us into the mind. We get all up here and we get all worked up and all emotional that we are not aware out here. Okay, we're dysregulated. We are just in our heads. So what we're seeing and feeling, we're believing it to be true and it's not. But regulation brings us back into the body through the senses. So how you're going to do this one is you are going to bring yourself back down. Okay, and you're going to name 5 things that you can see. So when you start getting overworked, you start getting super emotional, you start having your panic attack down spiral, you're going to pause. Okay, stop being reactive. You're not going to be reactive to life. Life comes from you. You're going to breathe. And you're going to say, okay, I see a brush. I see a book. I see a blanket. I see my dog. I see this. And you're going to name 5 things. And then you're going to name 4 things that you can touch. Okay, I can feel my jeans, I can feel my ring, I can feel my hair, I can feel this chair. You're going to start feeling it. Get yourself back into your body. How does your body feel? Not the anxiety aspect, but how does it feel? As in, how does your senses feel the things around you? 3 that you can hear. You have to quiet yourself. You got to get out of your head and actually become intuitive of what you're hearing. Okay, I hear the fan. I hear a bird chirping outside. And then if you can't really hear anything because you're in your room by yourself, listen to your breathing. And that then ties in your other. Practice your breathing. And make sure to accentuate that if you're trying to listen to your breathing, because it also signals release to the body psychologically, okay? 2, you can smell. What can you smell? Even if just the air is stale, you can still smell it. And then what can you taste? How does your tongue taste right now? Does your mouth feel dry? Does it feel really wet? Do you feel a lot of saliva in there? What is going on inside? This makes you start becoming aware, because presence is not passive. It is an active return to now. And this is where creation begins. Creation only ever happens in the present moment. You can only change your state of being, your state of mind, by becoming present to it. But if you're being reactive to it and you're identifying with your thoughts, if you're identifying with your feelings, then you are unconsciously saying that those things are who you are. And then you're reaffirming them and continually just bringing them into the present moment. And that's then where you spiral into a 15-minute long panic attack, or that's where the rest of your day just goes downhill and turns to shit, because you're believing that your thoughts are your life. Oh, I'm so stupid. And then you go the rest of the day with that, or that person hates me, or I look ugly. And then you create that state of being in yourself. But presence says, I am not my thoughts. I am not my feelings. So when you get a negative thought, then you take it captive to Christ and you say, no, I'm not going to believe that. Sorry. Because yes, you will always get thoughts. The brain is a tool. It just sends in thoughts. It's kind of the law of just constantly flowing, law of rhythm and whatnot. But when you get a thought that you don't like, you say no. And then you're going to proactively become the master of your house. And you're going to then direct your mind to actually, let's think about this. Look at how great can today get? Wow, I am so grateful for these things. And you're going to get yourself into a new state of being, but it takes you. You cannot just passively be a victim, blaming external things, or else, you're not going to be in control of your life, aka you, life itself. So to be in control of your mind and to be in control of your body, you have to be present. So nervous system regulation is learning to become back present and learning to feel safe within your body, your house. This is your house. This is your temple. You need to feel safe in it. If you don't feel safe in your body, then your body is going to constantly self-sabotage you from the life that you so deeply desire and that you want to live. And the number 5 is self-permission to rest without jurisdiction and judging. Nervous system regulation is becoming very in tuned and intuitive to what your body needs. And usually that is rest. When you get hyper up in your mind, you're not then in your body. You're too much up here. You need to ground yourself, okay? And a way to also do that is to visualize your energy coming back into your body and then sinking down all the way into your toes. And as they get into your toes, picture cement concrete like in your legs, just grounding you to the earth. And with that, you're then going to tell yourself, I am allowed to rest. And this one for me was very hard because I was leaning very heavily into my masculine energy of just constantly conquer this, rather than as a woman, my most dominant energy is the feminine. And therefore, I get what I want out of life by embodying, by regulating my nervous system, by being in my body. So I had to learn to give myself rest, just self-permission. Rest is not something that needs to be earned. It is something that is given. If my body is crying out and my nervous system is saying, hey, I need to slow down, then I need to allow that. And I need to actually regulate it. Because one of the deepest nervous system regulation is removing the belief that rest must be earned. Hustle keeps the body braced. Stress keeps the body braced. Being reactive and keeping your mindset out here of looking for signs, looking for God to respond, rather than just holding the vision up here, see the vision, take hold of it, and run with it. That is what lets your body and gives your body permission to rest. When you are at rest, when you are in coherence in your body, when you're pulling your energy back in and more focused about what's going on in here, now you're giving your body permission to rest. Now you're not wasting and just hemorrhaging energy out here and out in the outer world. Oh, this person did this to me. Oh, that person's so mean. No. Experiences are just experiences. You are the one who defines them. So send that person love. Don't send them hate. Don't think negative thoughts, because cause and effect, karma, real thing. Okay, so send them love because love comes back to you. And you need to then say, I'm allowed to pause without explaining myself. I am allowed to rest when needed. I am allowed to take care of my body. And you need to also, you begin regulating your nervous system by respecting your body, by respecting the temple that it is. And when you're hustling, you're kind of usually not taking care of yourself. And that does not mean you need to go get like a perm and your nails done and you need to be doing all this. And it's like, well, I don't have money. Okay, well, what do you have right now today? How can you better take care of yourself? Have you drank water? Okay, have you drank some lemon water? Are you getting consistent sleep, or are you up till 2 a.m. doom scrolling TikTok and Instagram? Do you actually take care of your body and treat it kindly? Do you say, wow, I love you? Do you dress as somebody who knows they're worthy of being loved, or do you try to hide yourself in baggy clothing because you don't feel beautiful? How are you talking to yourself? How are you regulating that nervous system? How are you reinforcing feelings and beliefs inside of yourself? Then you need to say, okay, how can I nourish my body? Can I go for a walk? Can I do some sit-ups? Can I eat a healthy meal? What can I choose today to slowly start integrating new healthy rituals and habits to create then the life that I want? I'm going to go to rest at this time. I'm going to hold promises to myself, because that then starts the nervous system trusting you. And that's another thing, is if you have beliefs up here that told yourself that you weren't trustworthy, that you didn't keep promises to yourself, then your nervous system is going to constantly be bracing. So then when you give it a new command, it's not going to trust you. Okay, it's going to be like, who the heck are you? You haven't kept promises to me. I don't think so. But when the mind and heart, when the mind and body are in coherence, they start trusting each other. And when you start keeping small promises to yourself, your body learns to trust you. And then it becomes easier and easier every time you want to quantum jump, every time you want to change your identity, every time you want to level up, every time you want to start manifesting something new and you want to pray for something to happen. It happens quicker and quicker because your body has learned to be safe in trusting you. In the Bible, this was referred to as Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because Abraham was the identity, the faith. Okay, you want something, you believe it to be true. Well, then now you need to have trust. You need to have the joy and the ease in your body that it's safe to receive it, that I can trust the mind. That is where meditation comes in. When you go into meditation, when you practice your breathing, when you become aware of the thoughts in your mind, now you're getting your mind and heart into coherence. Because yes, the brain sends signals, but the heart is so much more stronger. Okay, the heart, when it gets into slow regulated breathing and your cortisol drops and you're in meditation, the radio frequencies, okay, these signals that it's transmuting, the area of range expands. And so how much stronger then is that frequency to then attract what you want? And then that is Jacob, which is the child. You have higher father mind, mother spirit, and now you have Jacob, the identity, child, Christ in you is born in your solar plexus, in your manger. The pineal gland's fluid of milk turns then into honey. And this is what then happens. And so with that, that's then the wrestling, the identity embodiment, because now the old nervous system says, whoa, 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 it wasn't safe to have money. I don't know about this. And you then have to wrestle. It's like, no, this is the new one. It is safe. It is safe to hold money. We are safe to have this. And you kind of wrestle until you hit embodiment and you integrate. And then once you integrate, now you have a new state of being. Now you have a regulated nervous system that's like, oh yeah, I love receiving money. I breathe money like it's air, and it comes to me as quickly as it leaves my hand. And every dollar I spend comes back to me tenfold. And now the nervous system, then the heart is open, okay, that heart chakra, to then receiving what you want. Have everything in you to create the life that you want. You have all the potential in the world. And it comes down to you learning how to regulate your nervous system, learning how to think and take captive thoughts, to think positive thoughts, to focus on what you want, not what you don't want, and to not let your emotions be the deciding factor. Because our nervous systems, as I said, are designed to keep us safe. And sometimes that leads into laziness feeling of, I don't want to do that because it's going to be hard, and hard's painful, and I don't want to feel pain. But it's worth it. Okay, so going to the gym, yeah, it hurts, but guess what? Now you get a better body out of it. Yeah, you might not want to eat healthy food. You might not want to stop drinking soda and drink water. But as you integrate, you realize, oh, wow, I feel much better. Okay, now my body learns to trust me. Okay, when the mind says we got to do something new, we can get over it. And then it becomes easier and easier. Motivation does not happen until momentum happens. But you have to put in the steps. You have to put in the work. You have to regulate the nervous system. You have to get the mind and the heart in coherence with each other, because regulating your nervous system isn't about becoming better. It isn't about trying to fix yourself or trying to become whole or healing, okay? It is about just regulating and returning to your original state. Your original state is original righteousness. Your original state is pure, it is holy, it is divine, it is the higher self, the highest version of you is your original state. But the process of transformation and the creator delighting in you is your sanctification process of that transformation, because consciousness, everything is constantly changing and moving. That is one of the mental laws of the universe. And it's about returning to your original safe, whole, and open to receiving life. Because when you're not open, okay, when your nervous system is still protecting fight or flight mode, it is unknowingly rejecting and just like bing, bing, life's trying to give you something and it's like, nope, nope, I don't want it. I don't feel safe. So you've got to get yourself out of fight or flight to then be present. And it takes practice. It took me, honestly, I would say probably about 3 months of just constantly regulating my nervous system. And there was like, I went through a deep spiritual, like 2 weeks. Every day I was just sobbing because of all the trauma that I had picked up, because I had been through hell. And I had to learn to regulate. And as I learned to regulate, I am now free. I don't get sick unless I start reacting to life and I slip back into sinning, to missing the mark of my divine nature. And that is the only times I get sick, is when I get stressed. Because the body, it can't keep you healthy if it's also trying to keep you protected. So when you are stressed out and the cortisol spiking, then yeah, it's not protecting you from just the negative elements, which then lower your body. But when it is regulated, it has a strong, healthy biofield. That armor of God is protecting you, and your nervous system is regulated. And with it, it's open to receiving goodness, not lower frequencies, because you got to be in alignment with what you want. So when you're in alignment with what is good, good will come to you. Your body is not broken. It is responding intelligently to the story it was taught. So you got to write a new story, and you got to embody that new story. You got to feel that new story, because stories can be rewritten. Layers of paint can be peeled off the canvas, and you can create a life that you love, because you are a piece of art. You are so divinely, beautifully created, and you deserve the life that you want to live. And that starts with you regulating your nervous system. And the final bonus thing that I want you to do today, rule number 6, okay, to regulate your nervous system, to also see for you, to gauge where you're at personally, is go look in a mirror, put your hand on your heart, and say, I love you. Say it 3 times, and then after that, say, I approve of myself. And see how your body reacts. If your body tenses up, if the mind immediately tries to shut this down and say, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, that probably says you are not regulated into receiving love, which means you're still in a state of fear, which means you're in stress, which means you're in fight or flight, which means your psyche is fractured, which means you are not whole and integrated, which means you are not of Christ, and your body is not the I not be single and filled with light. Okay, different cultures taught different symbolism, comparative theology. They were all teaching about the same inner transformation. So with that, I want you to go look in a mirror, and I want you to do that for 30 days. And with money, another way to regulate your nervous system is check your bank account every single day. Back in the day, when I was afraid of money, I hated looking at my bank account. I'd be like, I don't want to know. But you can't fix the problem if you avoid the problem. Then it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like you don't pick up your socks on the floor and you just keep piling it. Next thing you know, your whole entire room's trashed. Your whole entire house is trash and it's in haywire because you haven't renewed your mind. You haven't been a good master of your house. You've been ignoring it. You've been disassociating and absent from your nervous system regulation. So we need to actually start regulating. And another way to make your body feel safe, again, faith and works. Faith is identity, works is the action. You have to lead the body. The man is the head of the household. The mind, father mind, should be ahead of mother spirit. So that way you can have a healthy family and a child, a new identity can be born. So with that, if you're healing the money thing and you're doing your EFTs, is start checking your bank account. And every day you do it, by the end of 30 days, it's going to feel normal to you. And you're going to get rid of that fear, because perfect love casts out fear. And don't judge yourself. Don't shame yourself for how much debt you might currently have, because life changes like this. Seriously, it does. And just get used to it, because when you're used to it and you're like, yeah, this is normal, this is no big deal. Now your nervous system feels safe. Now it also more easily attracts what you want into your life. Now it starts looking for opportunities of how can I make more money? How can I receive more money? It's open to just unexpected then blessings from the universe or God, if that's the terminology you want to use, to then drop money into your lap. So those are the 5 and 6 steps that I want you to start integrating today. If you want to create a life that you love, because you are art, you can create a life that you love, because you are the artist of your life. And if you like this video, please give it a likes up and consider subscribing.